Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from DeltiasGaming.com, and in this video, we're tanking ICP, Veteran ICP, the prison. Yes, Imperial City with the T3, the Thieves tank. I want to show you what it looks like, how to use it, and is it any good? So let's get started here. Well, you've seen the videos in the past of me DPSing this, healing this, and so this is from a tank's perspective. And what you need to know before going into this, we had a healer that we have never used before, and he or she doesn't use repentance. So that's a big deal for a tank. If your healer doesn't use repentance, you're going to be a lot more stamina drained than you would be otherwise. Thankfully, the person is using spears, so I'm not completely independent on my stamina, but it does make it a little more challenging. Also, we have a bunch of Dragonknights with us as well, and as you can see, they're using Engulfing Flames, igneous weapons. So I do slot my abilities here later with some of the flex spots. And so just realize that I do change based on who's in my party and why. Okay, so we're coming to the first boss. Usually when I'm doing these pulls, I get my buff phase up like I always talked about, and then I do my heavy attack to proc that reduced weapon damage on the primary target. And as you can see, I'm doing a lot of bar swaps here. So I'm bar swapping constantly, applying different buffs and debuffs. And look at my character. Don't have spikes in my back, and I'm not gray. That's a problem. You got to have that. There we go. So recast that. Life is good once again. Okay, you can see my stam is just above half, so that's pretty good. I'm going to make a change here since I see there's a bunch of other DKs in here. So we're going to go to the range taunt. Now I'm using the range taunt primarily because it's magic, and since I'm going to have stamina trouble with the Templar not using repentance, we're going to go ahead and slot that. Just typing him, asking the healer if he has blazing spear or luminous or whatever, because it's just so helpful for the tank. Repentance, I mean, I don't know why Templars don't use it, but you know, to each their own. A free heal that gives you regen just for having it slotted, and uses corpses and restores every stamina. I just don't understand why people don't use it, but people don't. So we have to find a way to manage without it. So this is going to be a lot more heavily dependent on me using potions, battle roar, and igneous weapons. That's really what I'm going to have to use. So getting this guy, I put him by the portal, and the reason why is I can taunt and kind of lock down all the little ads coming out of it. And also there's a harvester that comes out at about 50% HP. So that's really important. So you're going to blow your warhorn first right away. And the most important thing here is that you taunt the main guy and be prepared to bash him like that. If you don't bash that attack, that can easily wipe your other players that aren't blocking, especially those that are melee or stamina based. So you get him in here. So this guy will also need to be bashed. Now is when it gets a little tricky because you have all your buffs, you have all your debuffs, and then you have to bash and taunt both two main targets. Don't worry about taunting and chainsing the other little guys so much. It's more important that you get these guys. So stamina's dipping around 25%. I have a potion available, so I'm not really in any threat. Now my stamina is running a bit low. I pop my potion, and then I'm going to range taunt everything, and I'm no longer going to hit that pierced armor. Boom, Warhorn's out. Another one, that's two. So now I can lock him back down. I got big, huge burst of stamina. I lost aggro there, picked him back up. Heroic Slash, give him that debuff, bash him, and then just finish it out. I'm not glowing silver, and I have my spikes in my back, though. There we go. So, as you can see, that's how I did this fight. Now, Repentance would make that a lot easier. Every one of those little corpses would basically about 4,000 stamina or so. So we can still do it without. It's just much harder. So, especially slotting that range taunt, the magic-based taunt will really help you out. Okay, some more trash balls up here. Priority target, the taunt in here is the Flesh Atronach. Now, you can Talons the other things and use volatile armor on here to get their attention along with Talons, but really you got to make sure you get that Flesh Atronach right away. That guy will pretty much one-shot your squishy little magic casters. So he's priority target. He can rage. So do your best to debuff him as best you can and get that ultimate generating big heavy attack. Dodge, Tava's Blessing goes off. Get Heroic Slash going. And sometimes it seems like Heroic Slash, if I apply it like 1 second in, it will still go after the mob's dead. I don't know if that works or not. So I'm going to show you some other abilities to tank here, like Eruption. So Eruption is kind of like an AoE not as effective as caltrops used to be, razor caltrops, but it still gets a lot of aggro. It can be placed at range. It's an earth and heart ability, so guess what? It restores our stamina. So I'm going to show you kind of a little bit of that if you do want to use that instead. There's a lot of different options you can do with this tank. It's not just one-dimensional. Okay, so we got these little trash packs down. Another big trash pack. You can use ultimates here. So usually we do a Warhorn. So an eruption, get their attention, lock them down with talons, and then on a taunt them, boom, a Warhorn, horny time, fun time, and lock them down. Just make sure you taunt the priority target. There's no AoE taunt in the game. There used to be kind of caltrops worked in that fashion. So it's the most important that you understand which is the hardest mob, the biggest, heaviest hitting one. If you don't know and you're in a dungeon, usually check their HP or just physically look at them. If it's a big, huge, nasty harvester, well, that's probably the most threatening mob, like out of this pack. So grab the harvester, and you're going to have to bash him right away. Another trick to tanking is face him away from your group. So when you taunt him, don't have him where I have him, because if he casts and gets that off, it's going to blow up the guy right behind. So what you want to do is basically position it so if it does cast or it does do a cleave in front of it, it doesn't hit your other party members. Now, the mob was up against a wall, so that's a little bit harder to do, but I'll show you in later fights what that looks like. You got to get used to it. You basically taunt and then wheel the boss around. That way, your other party members won't be affected. So there was Eruption. Now we're going to use Igneous Shields. And you can see the extra healing that it gives me and protection. It's also an Earth and Heart ability, and it's cheaper than Igneous weapons. So I'm going to taunt him. And if your DPS runs in there before you do, I have a bad habit of doing that when I'm DPSing. You know, there's only so much you can do. And if they die because of that, well, that's a them problem, not a you problem. So what I like to do as a tank is try to lead the pack. Don't wait for other ones to like stand there and be ready, because you can survive, you know, almost anything for 15-20 seconds. So just lead, get up in front, every trash bowl, get ready to go, move out ahead of everyone. It'll go a lot faster. Otherwise, they're waiting for you. So I usually peek behind and do a couple of jumps to let them know I'm pulling if I'm not in comms with them. And then once they see me buffing, they know, hey, he's pulling these mobs. Okay, so this is the fight before the second boss, the poop boss, which has changed. You can't just blow through it without the mechanics anymore. Well, sometimes you can. Also, it looks like the healer is using Lord Warden, I guess, which is kind of an odd choice, but does have a lot of mitigation, so cool. These two mobs are pretty simple. Basically, you're going to range taunt the eyeball dude and then make sure that you're doing heroic slashes. And the reason why is you really want to ultimate prior to going into this fight. And we'll see how many Warhorns we can get off. Probably be a lot, because this fight does last quite a bit. Okay, so that is not working. I'm going to go back to Igneous Weapons here, just because the DKs can take Igneous Weapons off their bars and free them up for another DPS slot. Plus, I like spam casting it. Okay, so boss here. It's somewhat harder on the tank the longer the fight goes, because you're going to have Flesh Atronach. So I'll try to do my best to walk you through this. So we're going to do our pre-buffs, range taunt, a little light attack to proc my weapon enchant, Warhorn, and then I'm smashing those synergy buttons, that shackle, bang, free abilities, free synergies, free resources, hit it. And the boss will turn on the different party members, and you have to bash them off, so don't think you're always losing aggro. Now, the Flesh Atronachs are a priority. When the boss does his green hand-up poopy thing, basically it's not going to attack any of your party members. Use this time to get back resources to apply your buffs and debuffs on yourself, but maintain the Flesh Atronachs. You can even throw the poop grenade right there on the boss as well. So you use this time to get your resources back. You see I cast 2 Igneous Weapons to make sure I'm topped off on stam. And so as a player here, I'm looking at the little icons, my character, and my potion. I want to make sure that I have a potion available, or I know what time it is in case I run out of stamina. Also, I'm using the range taunt a lot more here because we don't have repentance going, so I got to be diligent with my stamina. And I will single target taunt the boss with pierced armor once they're out of their green hand up in the air poopy phase, because I do want the spell resistance debuff on them for the DPS. That will help them out. And usually they run elemental drain, but if they don't, you know, that extra 5,000 resistance lower adds up to, I think, almost like 10% more damage. Okay, boss comes out of it here, does a big heavy attack, and it picks one person usually to pin down, and you need to bash. It could be you, it could be someone else. So here's that mechanic. And so I just sit there and bash, 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 bash. Now that will drain some of your stamina. You also have a couple Fletch Atronachs, so you got to get aggro back real quick. And you can see I'm down on resources big time. And then they're chasing me around. It's hard to taunt because there's so much crap going on. Do the best you can. I mean, that's all you can ask for. So the boss is getting lower, and hitting those synergies, that grab, crush, that purify, that will give you back those resources you need to kind of maintain the fight without using ultimate. So boss is here. Another Warhorn, I think that's 2. But look at, I'm not gray. There we go. Gray, scales my back, life's good. Reapply those buffs. Get the Atro on him, and then you can kind of drag the Atros away from the boss to help your DPS, but usually there's like 4 or 5 Atros here at the end. So do your best to taunt them. It's better to over taunt them now than it is to under taunt them. So if you're in doubt, send another taunt your way. Whether you can do both. You can do a stamina and or a magic. Now there's some reason to do both. One is a spell resistance debuff. The other one can proc that synergy, which is a lot of damage. Alright, so moving on. That fight is easy because our DPS is absolutely fantastic. Vocal and Misty, and they do a great job. So sometimes it's not that easy and you have to keep going, but just keep trying. And if you optimize your other DPS with different abilities, it should be easier, but it is challenging sometimes unless you have monster DPS. Everyone in this group is pretty much wearing legendary gear, 501 champion points. I don't know about the healer. So, you know, if this doesn't come as natural to you, that's okay. It's quite challenging with below 501 CP. We had to do it, and it wasn't exactly easy, but we got it done. We just kept doing it. Sometimes, like I always say, you got to be too stupid to quit. And if you have that mentality, you'll get through almost anything. It might take you 8 hours, but you'll get through it. Hell, it took me 8 hours to get through Vet Maelstrom Arena the first time. Now, only about 47 minutes on my fastest clear. Anyway, I'll shut up. Harvester up here, range taunt, light attack here as you're closing the distance to proc that enchant, and then face him away from the group as best you can. I'm going to chains and bang here that archer, and you see how I face them away? Well, now they're coming behind me, but there, that's the position you want on bosses or mini bosses. You want the DPS behind. Usually the healer is going to be using combat prayer if they're not Nightblades, and that can hit everyone. That's going to give you the minor resistance buff as well, so spell and physical. And you're all going to be in a line, and then if the thing does a cleave or turns to face another party member, like you lose taunt, it'll be much easier to see. Okay, so I'm going to taunt Eyeball Dude and give him heroic slash here, light attack. I'm swinging at air. Yeah, I know, I did that. And then chains and bang here. So I'm going to chains, pierced armor, chains, and just boom, Warhorn, lock them down with talons. Remember that talons is so important because of that impale proc. Right there, that impale proc will produce a lot of damage for DPS. And it's going to give them back resources via Undone Metal. And it's a free damage ability, even for a healer to hit. So remember, chains or talons is so important for that very reason. So this is pretty an easy fight. You can pull both trash poles here up ahead if you have all your ultimates up. Since I don't know the healer and we don't have repentance, I just go for one. So I'm going to range taunt here both of the crazy little dudes right there. And I'm going to heroic slash them, lock them down with talons, and then here comes my DPS. So that's how a pull should look like. You have a lot of aggro because of the AoE, talons, and spiked armor or volatile armor. And then when they come in, it's a lot easier. So I'm going to blow Warhorn here, give them a little bit extra damage, and then I'm kind of bashing and maintaining. So usually after the first initial taunt of the two targets and the AoE damage, they'll be focused on you. And that gives you time to basically see what's going on and making sure that things are getting interrupted. You got to interrupt. And it's not only the tank's job to interrupt. If you're playing something else and you see someone casting, interrupt. It could save them. So our DPS YOLO'd in first. I have a bad habit of doing that as well. And they paid for it. So if you're going to go in for the tank, just realize that it's going to be a little challenging. I do it all the time and die over and over. But sometimes you just want to get the dungeon fast. Especially if you're doing this and you're missing one scathing mage piece like I am. One scathing mage piece is all I need. Okay, here we go. So I'm just trying to chains and bang these guys so we can go faster. You know, this is kind of a farm run just because we've done it so many times looking for gear. Leeching set, Scathing Mage, some of the best PvE gears here. Taunt Eyeball Dude, and you can bring Eyeball Dude all the way down here to the Lich, the next pull, or you can just do it easily, building up ultimate to make the next trash pull really easy. So if you're doing clears just for speed, I'd say bring it all together and blow it up. If you're trying to do a no death run to get the cool looking pet, then do each trash pull, you know, one at a time. Also, don't skip trash necessarily, because you can get boots from the trash. That's where the trash mobs give you all these boots. When I say trash mobs, it's basically any mob that's not the boss, essentially, like these little trash packs here. So you do have incentive for killing these guys. Each set comes in boots from killing these little mobs. So don't always think about just skipping it. A lot of people just skip it, and it's like, well, you get gear, and it's fun to kill stuff, I think. Okay, big pull here, add. I'm going to range taunt Harvester, and I'm going to get it faced away, and then what I would try to do right away is chains up everything. It's going to be hard to get a lot of aggro because you have your priority target, which is the Harvester. I'm going to pop Warhorn here and just try to chains and face the Harvester away from everyone as best I can, and the DPS is just mowing through the rest of the targets. So in this instance, you can see that I can't taunt everything, but I can taunt and prioritize with my buffs and debuffs what I focus on. That's all I can control. If the DPS is doing their job like they're just mowing down everything. So by the time those other mobs become a threat, they're already dead because the DPS is just ripping them down. So another trash pack up here. Ideally, you want to save your ultimates here for the eyeball boss dude. So usually we'll just kind of build up ultimate while we're killing this. It's really nice to go into a fight with everyone having an ultimate, a boss fight. And the more you do these dungeons, the more you'll know when to use an ultimate and when not to. And it's okay to use an ultimate here, but if you start the boss fight and everyone has an ultimate, we blow a Warhorn, Nova, you know, banners, meteors, whatever, the fight just goes so much faster and so much easier. So that's pretty much why you'll see on these videos that almost everyone kind of waits to drop their ulties at boss fights. But if you're a Nightblade and you can build ultimate like crazy, or this particular build, you can use ultimates left, right, and center and get away with it. Okay, so it looks like I got a lot of ulti. Resources are looking good. Potions coming off cooldown. Looks like about 30 seconds. So I know that I have my Warhorn to depend on for resources. About 30 seconds after that's done, I got my potion. And then I can use Igneous and my magic's full. So for this fight here, I grab Eyeball Dude, and then I put Eyeball Dude on top of one of these dudes. And so what you need to know about this fight is that if you don't taunt these guys in the corner, they'll be blowing up your DPS. So try to range taunt all of these guys out there. And your priority obviously is Eyeball Dude. So if you don't range taunt one of the little caster guys, that's not the end of the world, but make sure that you're trying your best to get them off your DPS. And usually, even as a tank, I'm looking at health bars, because health bars tell me if someone's getting peppered by, like, see right there, boom, his health dropped really low. So I'm kind of like looking where the player is and wondering, did he get hit because he was standing in something, or was it because I wasn't taunting properly and an NPC is blowing him up? So I bring the Eyeball Dude to another caster guy, just because the AoE will kill the caster and the boss kind of at the same time. And you see how I pointed him that way? That's not what you want to do. You want to point him towards the poison, because he did that little laser beam cast, and guess what? DPS took extra damage because I wasn't properly positioning. So remember, always, always, always think, where am I positioned? Is it away or towards my party members? It needs to be away. So if they cleave through you or go through you, it doesn't hit your extra party members. That will save your healer time. Instead of healing, they can do DPS, which ultimately makes the fights go a lot faster. And boom, nuke and juke, lock and block, rip and grip, we're good to go. Let's loot Eyeball Guy and get our whole 2 Daedric Shackles and running these dungeons. 150 keys to open up a chest. You get 38 doing a run, so prepare to run this for 8 hours a day every day to get your Scathing Mage set, which is considered best in slot for DPS. It is what I'm trying to get for my Magic Nightblade. And then also for a Magic Nightblade tank that Gil made, the Bloodletter, which is on my site, Leeching. Both are really cool sets. So I like doing this dungeon. I've done it a trillion times, so it kind of comes natural. And you see what I'm doing, this little bash thing here? And I got that thing from DSA. And tanking DSA, Dragonstar Arena, there's a couple mobs in there where you just need to constantly bash them, or they place a healing circle on the feet. So if I know a mob's going to cast and I have extra stamina, I'll just constantly bash it. So we're just building up ultimate here, going to the next fight. Usually a heavy attack around here, so do loot those. You might get 5 kudas. And if you get 5 kudas, you guys know I'm taking donations. So now we got crazy little beetle dude, crap, harkers, whatever they're called, horkers. And basically we put red circles on the ground. Red circles are bad, right? And if you get 2 red circles, you're pretty much going to be nuked unless you're blocking. So I die to this a lot just because, you know, I'm a red circle bandit. But I like to clump them all together. Elemental blockades will just nuke them down. Just kind of line of sight here. And just let the DPS's elemental blockades just blow them up. Okay, they're done. And you're going to want to use an ultimate for this pull. So you're going to have to prioritize once again. So I'm going to pre-buff and a Harvester first. The 2 caster guys, CC break here, and bang, Warhorn. Now I'm going to Talons, and I'm just kind of looking to the left if the Harvester cast. And so once the rest of those guys are down, basically you want to grab the Harvester and position it there. See? Away from your party. That's important. I didn't do that early, but learn from my mistakes. Position it away. I'm trying to run back to my spirit. Give me my stamina. Woo! Oh, stamina. What? Okay, so we're going to go into this next pull. It has a bunch of little Harvester guys or whatever, so make sure that you're moving in a circle for this particular fight. So I like the range taunt, and the range taunt is really handy in this particular fight. So you're going to get these little Horver guys. I don't know what to call them. The beetles. We're just going to call them beetles. You get the beetle dudes, and you just kind of run around until they just die. And then once the beetle dudes are dead, I go over to Harvester dude, debuff it, get my ultimate going. So you got to have an ultimate going in this next fight. You don't have to, but it makes it a lot easier. So what I'm doing is using Earth and Heart abilities. I'm light attacking. Every 6 seconds I want to use an Earth and Heart ability. Use weapons to get my ultimate up. Heroic Slash, light attack when needed. Just proc the weapon enchant, keep it taunted. So you can see we're all just kind of building up ultimate. 250 alt cost for the DK's banners and for Warhorn, so it just takes a minute. It's just best if you have an ultimate prior to going into the fight. And we're not even doing the speed run, but you can get it done still doing this mechanic. Okay, so make sure that all the party members are in that door before you start attacking. I also like to wait till this guy is centered before I start attacking, and I kind of let my party know that I'm ready just by kind of jumping and buffing. And I'll look back at them and see if they're ready. Range taunt, debuff, and then you're going to want to grab those 2 beetle dudes. So once you got the 2 beetle dudes, you got the boss taunted, now it's time to work on debuffs. So I'm going to buff with Warhorn, and don't position them facing the guys. That's really important because that big old cleave can wreck them. So I'm going to re-taunt him. I'm going to get Heroic Slash. So remember the debuff on Heroic Slash, 12 seconds. The ultimate gen is 9. So I'm going to use that quite often, and most of my stamina is going to go to that. See, I'm doing a Heroic Slash a lot. So once he goes into the middle like that, you just need to go on the outside. CC break. People will be low health, so if you have Vigor, it's useful to use. But you kind of want to go in all 4 corners if possible. So I'm going to grab little beetle dudes. Boss is beating on me. You see the positioning here. Someone got a radiate proc. It's a lot of damage. Hit that DPS. Hit the radiate proc. Trust me. Heroic Slash. Igneous Weapons. I'm above 50% stamina, so I'm good on that. And I'm just going to keep using Heroic Slash early and often. Range taunt these little Horver beetle dudes. And he's just about done. I'm going to hit a Warhorn just to kind of help them get over the last little bit. Dodge roll. CC break right away. And then someone's going to get the little donut circle thing. Just stay in the donut circle thing. Boom, he's dead. And let's see what loot I got. Oh, absolutely nothing. Yep, typical ICP. Oh my god, buff the loot drop for reals. I've probably ran this dungeon 200 times. No joke. Now, I deleted or refined all my Scathing Mage because it used to suck. Just because the proc didn't happen that much and it wasn't that long. And then they buffed it, and it's like, okay, well, now I have to run this dungeon a good old 100 more times to get this set. So, yeah, I will complain about that forever. All right, range taunt the middle guy and kind of bring in the melee guys to the middle guy. And just clump, AoE, and dump. Clump and dump, baby, that's a new one. And some of these melee guys will be chasing around your DPS. Do your best to prioritize them. And then the caster guy here loves to channel cast, so be prepared to bash them. But this shouldn't be too hard. The next fight can be a little troublesome. It's probably best to use a Warhorn for this. And look at my character, Gray. Don't have spikes on my back yet. Delta, get that armor up. There we go, spikes on my back. Buff, give me that synergy. Ooh, yeah. Give me that spear, baby. Spear me, baby, one more time. Okay, sorry. Levers open, and here we go. So we got, looks familiar, right? Flesh Atronach, 2 Horror dudes, and a Harvester. So boom, range taunt, and I'm trying to get everything taunted the best I can. So I didn't interrupt there. Bad mistake. Luckily, we healed through it. Warhorn, I got everything taunted except the Flesh Atronach. Got to have that thing. And then just kind of move around in a circle. And, bash. The Flesh Atronach's chasing my DPS. So, CC break. I see my DPS go up in the air. That's my bad. Taunt, taunt, taunt. There we go. Taunt your booty. Okay. Now we got everyone centered. The ads are dying. The 2 beetle things are dead. Usually you want to kill the Flesh Atronach because it enrages. And I'm going to try to get these little zombie dudes off my healer just because I don't want them to get screwed with. And there we go. Now you can save an ultimate here to make the next fight easier, but usually you're going to generate quite a bit of ultimate because these guys are undead and Daedra. And so every kill you can get a bit of ultimate for them. So now we go to the next poll. Alright, for this poll, what I'll tell you here is there's a healer, obviously, and it's important that 1 or more people interrupt this healer. So as a tank, it's usually my job, but if someone's by it, interrupt the thing. So you're going to cast taunt on everything you possibly can. Now, it's probably going to get away from you at some point, so do your best. And then here you see the caster do his thing. There's also going to be a Soul Tethered Nightblade, and the Necromancer will summon a Bone Totem that needs to be killed. Best thing you can do here is clump and dump. Clump everything together, massive AoE, and kill everything at the same time. And luckily here, you see this bone shield thing or whatever it's called. Luckily, it got in here right away. Boom, remembrance. When you see those little glowing yellow shields on your enemies, like these little NPCs, you gotta bash that sucker right away. You ever done VMA, you know about remembrances on round 9. It sucks, because your guys will go back to full health and you'll have to kill them all over again. So Necromancer is kind of priority. I'm going to bash here, so that Orc sprint speed, what? It helped. Oh my god, Orc sprint speed, best race NA, just kidding. And it's not too bad. So once they turn black or they go to the soul, you can't kill them. That's ideally why you want to kill everything at the same time, so they can't do that. And they'll chase you around, you can't really taunt them. But usually there's 1 or 2 mobs left, and it's pretty easy. Okay, so now we're good to go. Now it comes Lord Warden, who everyone hates. Good, that's RNG. I don't know why I'm singing. But anyways, there's 2 little scavenger guys on the way to Lord Warden. So don't blow them up if you need ultimate. Light attack, give them little butterfly kisses and stuff like that to get your ultimate up because you want to burn Lord Warden at the start. Ideally, if you have enough DPS, if everyone's doing their job, you can no-phase Lord Warden, which is basically, he doesn't even go up in the air. Because if you get enough damage, I think around 65%, he does a split. Then around 30 to 35%, he does another split, and then you can kill him outright. So I don't think we get that done here, but if you have a DPS, and especially if your healer is strong DPS as well, you can just no-phase Lord Warden. If you don't, you're going to have to go up in the little air and do all this fun stuff. So, we're probably going to have to go up in the air and do all this fun stuff. The key thing to remember is that when you go up in the air, you're going to have to get that synergy, right? But also, be on your correct bar when you drop down. And usually I want to be on my Vigor bar. So as soon as I hit the ground and take fall damage, bang, I want to self-heal to be able to self-heal. So you'll see that sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Something to keep in mind. Okay, so I'm going to make sure my DPS is ready. Since they're so far away, I don't know why they're over there, but since they're so far away, I'm not going to blow my Warhorn right away. I'm going to get him positioned. And so once they're in that 20-meter area, buff, and Warhorn, make sure they got it. Okay, so now they have ultimates, and of course, Lord Warden moves out of the banner. Do your best to position them inside your friendly's ultimates, though it's not exactly always easy to do. And then high mobility ultimates are really useful. Okay, now he's doing his channel cast. We got to get in front of someone. And of course, I'm right by an orb as well. So if you're the healer or the person getting channeled, don't run around herky-jerky style. Once your tank gets the boss, Lord Warden centered, don't move from that position. Otherwise, your tank will have to move and possibly can go in these little portals and be bad. Okay, so we did monster DPS here, and it split before we went up. So I'm going to range taunt all of these guys, and this is ultimate generation heaven because they're shooting a million things at me. So that's great for us. But the thing you want to do is kind of hang out in the middle, and also heroic slash one if you can here and there, because we want a Warhorn as soon as this guy comes out of his little phase. Also, healers, help your tanks out. You can see I'm below 50% stamina. Throw a spear dead center middle. You believe it, your tank will run to that little spear. See, boom, spear. So that was a good job by the healer there. And then once this guy comes out, he's going to be dead center. So I'm going to Warhorn, retaunt right away, get out of the purple stuff. And then he's doing his channel to nuke someone, so I'm going to be right in front. And I'm casting Vigor over and over. And it's actually me, so that's not a big deal. And I have a potion available. Bang. I switched to my stamina potions because I don't want to use my gold on them tripods and use it right away. So we didn't hit the 30% mark DPS. That's okay. I'm going to take the far one since I have some sprint speed, and look what bar I'm on. I'm not on my Vigor bar. Now, it's not a big deal, but when you come down, you usually like to do a bit of healing. And so that will save... Sometimes it will save your life. So try to be on your main heal bar if you can. If not, not a big deal. Lord Warden will stun you as well. So make sure to hold block when it's applicable. Ooh, a spear. Juicy. I needed that. He needed that bad. Okay, so now you want to build up your third ultimate here. Another Warhorn. So I'm going to range taunt everything. I'm just getting beat on in the middle. And as a tank, I didn't do a good job because I put the orbs right in the middle. Typically, you want to put the orbs on the outside. So you want to kind of tank the boss on one of the outside ledges. That way, when you come down from the fall, you're not taking extra damage by the orbs. So learn from my mistake. That wasn't good. That was not good placement by me. Also, heroic slash if you can. Continue to do that on one of the mobs. It doesn't matter if you're really damaging them or not. It's mainly just for the ultimate gen. And remember, Lord Warden's going to drop dead center usually. So we're going to grab him, Warhorn. He's doing another orb, so you want to take them away. He's doing a shotgun cast. So see how the Templar or whatever is just kind of moving away. Don't do that. And almost gets chained down. Gets chained down. Okay, so people are going to die now because one guy went into the thing early. So I'm going to use my orc speed, and I'm going to be resolving Vigor bar. It's going to come in real handy. Okay, so 2 people are dead. I got basically no damage, so hopefully me and the DPS can kill this guy. So I'm going to get Vigor, get towards the edge, CC break. I'm really low on stamina here. I don't have a healer to rely on. Okay, so that's why I use Ferocious Sleep. So you can see a Ferocious Sleep gave me that big, nice bubble. It gave me a burst of resources that I need just to survive a little bit longer. So it's really important that I tank and spank my ass off because there is no one else to rely on, and I do have Vigor to heal my DPS. So he's doing the shotgun. I'm going to have to heal myself and my tank. Or I'm the tank. Never mind. I heal myself and the DPS. Okay, so I'm basically low on stamina, so I'm going to use igneous weapons here. Range taunt for a magic taunt, and he goes back up. So I don't have enough stamina really to taunt and cast my elude, but now I will because I have a tripod. So I'm going to wait till I hit the ground and then tripod, not heal. Then heal as well. Okay, so I'm going to dodge roll. I'm going to low on stam, Ferocious Sleep in once again to get that nice extra little bubble. Igneous weapons, CC break, and he's beating the crap out of me. Got enough stamina for elude, and we should have him down. Woo! So that's why I use the low-cost ultimate for that exact reason. If all that stuff happens, I still can get an ultimate in when I need it. And that is the T3 in action, folks. I think it works pretty well. I enjoy it. You can do a lot of content. You're sturdy, and you have a lot of group utility. So thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. We'll have a lot more content coming soon.